So I'm here today with Robert from E.R.E Property, who is the owner.
Morning.
Robert, morning. Tell me a little bit about E.R.E.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. I own E.R.E Property in Partnership. We've been established for 20 years. We're based in Leeds in North Yorkshire. We've also got an office in Dubai and one in Hong Kong. And for 20 years, we've sold and managed investment properties for our clients, typically selling buy-to-let apartments for rental income and capital appreciation, mainly in the north of England, Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds sort of areas.
Okay. And I see your proposition as an alternative investment to the traditional sort of asset classes that we would usually talk about with clients, but give me some more information on exactly what it is.
Well, so we're selling this currently as one of our options, assisted living opportunity, which is really taken the market by storm. We've known the developer for this particular option 15 years, and he owns a variety of buildings in the north of England where the prices are cheap and the yields seem to work quite well. And he's re-tenanted those from regular tenants to these vulnerable adults who are supported by the government, and the yields are 10% net. So rather than a regular tenant that you would have, where you'd have to pay ground rent, service charge, management, have any maintenance issues or any voids, you have a vulnerable adult who's been supported by the government in your property, managed by a housing association who give you a lease for 25 years. And the yields are 10% net, but you haven't got any of the additional costs or hassle with it. It's just a fully managed opportunity. It also increases with inflation annually, plus 1%, so it always stays ahead of inflation, and it works very well. So we introduced this to our client base that have traditionally bought buy-to-let properties a couple of years ago, and we've had a huge uptake, and it's been a tremendous thing for a lot of our buyers to have a diversity to their portfolios.
And how long do you need to be invested in?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are a couple of things here. You buy the property, you own it, you have the title deed, so it's yours. You're just basically leasing it out for a 25-year period. The options here are that when everyone purchases, they get a 3-year buyback option. So within a 3-year window, providing the developer can hit a minimum 30% profit, everyone sells, because he will typically sell the asset class to a pension fund who will come along and swoop in and buy the whole thing, and when they come along they buy everything. So within a 3-year window, it's not guaranteed, but there's a huge motivation from the developer and from the pension funds and asset classes to purchase these. If that trigger point is hit at 30%, everyone sells. But the option also is that anything above the 30% the developer makes, he will split with you 50-50. And a lot of these pension funds come in and purchase at a very good rate, probably 5-6% net. A lot of these are yielding 10, so there's a huge profit there. So once the developer's paid you your 30%, the extra that he splits between you and himself could be £10,000-15,000 an apartment, which is fantastic. The developer's got several hundred apartments, so it works extremely well for him as well. Okay. So typically you're locked in for 3 years because of this 30%, but you're welcome to sell it any time after that period. And as it's an ongoing 10% net yield, coupled with inflation plus 1%, it's an extremely viable option that people are attracted to purchase.
So essentially you get a physical asset that belongs to you. It's not a fund.
Yeah.
You actually own the asset. Yeah. But with the buyback option.
Indeed, yeah. So you own the property, it's yours, you've got the title deed to that property. Essentially, you're just leasing it out for that 25-year period with an option to resell. Now, if that 3-year window isn't reached, if that 30% isn't offered to you, you've just got a 25-year rental that goes up with inflation plus 1 annually without any costs, which, to be fair, a lot of our buyers just want that longevity of income.
And can anyone invest in terms of nationality and where they're actually situated in the world?
Yes, indeed. We have Most of our sales are to UK buyers from our UK office, which is always reassuring. However, excuse me, because we've got offices in Hong Kong and in Dubai, we have a global reach. So anyone can purchase. There's no restriction whatsoever. It's all done through UK solicitors, so it's a cash purchase. Because the mortgages are quite difficult at that sort of lower level, and it just makes it easier to be able to transact the deal quite quickly.
And what are the price points?
Yeah, thank you.
You need to invest.
It's quite important. So the cheapest one we're selling at the moment is one in called Castle View in Runcorn, the 145,500, and they net 9.28% net yield. The next one that we have, 175 in Bradford, called City Exchange, that's a 10% net yield. So typically anywhere between 145, 500 and 175. And that gets you that pretty much 10% yield.
Nice.
So Sophia, typically what sort of asset are your clients looking for? What sort of investment do they normally look to achieve?
So when it comes to property, all of my clients at some point will be looking for some kind of property investment.
Yeah.
Usually they look for kind of off-plan opportunities.
Yeah.
But, you know, in terms of the yields that we've just discussed, you know, they won't, you know, in most cases don't achieve anything near the 10% mark.
Indeed.
So
Yeah.
this seems like a very, very good option.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody because, as you say, it is a cash deal. And you're locked in for the sort of 25-year period. We do an awful lot of off-plan. We've cut our teeth selling off-plan properties over the past 20 years. You know, for example, we've got Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, and typically those are £200,000, £300,000, £400,000, with probably 4 to 5% net yields. But you're going to get the sort of capital appreciation building in that, and you know that one day you can sell it to someone who's going to live in it, and there's a huge rental market in the UK, which is just very, very strong currently. So I'm sure a lot of our clients will be very interested to learn about Wimbledon Wealth and how some of your options might just work for them as well.
Yeah, so Wimbledon Wealth was actually established in 2014
Right.
in Wimbledon,
Yeah.
funny enough. That's where the first office was open, and essentially what we have done is we have come out to the UAE now about 3 years ago,
Right.
but we've used the same concept, the same framework that we use in the UK, which is a regulated environment out here.
Good.
in the UAE. Our level of service is exactly the same, our quality of advice, and the type of areas that we specialise in are retirement pension planning,
Right.
which works very, very well for our UK clients as well as our expats out here
Yeah,
who
indeed.
need
Yeah.
to be very proactive in this part of the world
Yeah.
in terms of their retirement planning, because
Yeah.
most of them don't get a pension out here with
Exactly.
their companies like you
Yeah.
would do back in the UK.
Mm.
There's a lot of investment opportunities that we do cover. We have a specific focus on alternative investments
Right.
and property as well, which is
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
I'm talking to you as
Good.
well about
Thank
the
you.
opportunities that you offer.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of regard and specialise or have specialists who deal with tax, obviously with clients who are back and forth between the UK
Sure.
and globally as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, we specialise in a very bespoke service
Yeah.
and use cash flow modelling
Yes.
for all of our clients as well,
Got you.
to really help them plan for their financial security.
Yeah, indeed, which
Yeah.
is what everyone wants to achieve ultimately, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, thank you. Now, I think when we first met Sophia for coffee a few months ago, we were both discussing it was quite remarkable the similarities that we both had with clients, because I know that you look after a lot of professional people here, a lot with the Big Four, KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, EY, and I cut my teeth with people in that environment over the past 10 years in Hong Kong and Asia particularly, which has spilled over into the UAE. As I'm sure with yourself, the best client to get is someone that refers or repeat buys, and we get a lot of referrals here, but we've found that the demographic of clients, I think, is very similar with us really, where it's a variety of people working in white-collar jobs who have perhaps got a situation in their life where they're earning a little bit more money and they can then lock in an asset class to look after them in later life. So with us particularly, our main office is in Leeds in the UK, and it's quite reassuring for a lot of our clients to know that the bulk of our sales really is in the UK to UK buyers that are there. But we do have a lot of clients, the same as yourself, in the UAE, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and in Hong Kong and Asia. So it's interesting.
My experience has been the difference between clients in the UK that I have and the clients out here is a lot of the professionals here are looking for opportunities, different opportunities where they can get maximum returns.
Yeah.
And they're open to look at different asset classes and different types of investments than the traditional type of stocks and shares, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think, it is a good way to really secure your future by looking at different asset classes, looking at alternative investments, and looking for those opportunities that may not be out there, but you can get through an advisor like myself who can come up with strategies to help you secure higher returns in different types of assets. And that's where, we add a lot of value to our clients as well by sourcing, looking for these types of opportunities to help them really secure their financial future.
I think variety is one of the keys there, isn't it, really?
Yes.
And also comfort zone. We've all got our comfort zones. This isn't for everybody, but there's various different asset classes that you can look at where we as professionals can present that to people and give them that comfort and look after them throughout. And I'm sure it's a benefit at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think the other thing to also highlight is a lot of, especially prospects and clients that I talk to, don't really want to be investing in the stock market, and they want something different because of all the events that have taken place recently with COVID and with wars and an asset class that is not necessarily correlated as much as the markets themselves, where as soon as there's something that happens, it crashes.
Yeah, indeed.
They want other alternative asset classes. So, the amount of investments that we're doing now in property investments, in other types of alternative investments has increased dramatically.
I think also, one thing to bear in mind that we always go along with is it's a long-term thing, isn't it? This, property over the 10-year cycle typically, in the majority of cases, has doubled in price in the UK. Rents have been just going upwards. This assisted living, the buyback isn't guaranteed. You've got to look at it from a 25-year option, really, and that sort of time for markets to sort of establish themselves. Different areas in the UK perhaps might benefit from a source of investment, and that could just boost the property prices and the rental and the demand in that area. So I think always to take a pragmatic view and a long-term view is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me here this morning. It's lovely to see you again, and I look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you very much. And
pleasure.
I think a lot of our clients are going to find the investment very, very attractive, and I look forward to speaking to you more and speaking to my clients.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Thank you.